Hey, y'all, I'm Shane Sams, the host of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Super excited to be back with you today talking to another member of the Flipped Lifestyle community. On today's podcast, I'll be interviewing my good friend, Ben Pugh. Ben Pugh is a longtime member of the Flipped Lifestyle community. In fact, Ben Pugh was at a live event that me and Jocelyn were at when the idea for Flipped Lifestyle actually came into being. So Ben has been around since the birth of Flipped Lifestyle. He's done some amazing things online. He's got an awesome growing podcast. He built an awesome one-on-one coaching practice. And now him and his business partners are trying to turn that into a membership. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you take your one-on-one coaching model, turn that into maybe a group coaching model or something that you can build enough value into that can even be a membership and still serve all your people? This is a fun episode with an amazing member of the Flipped Lifestyle community. So without further ado, enjoy the show. Welcome to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Great to be back with you again today to talk to another member of the Flipped Lifestyle community. Super excited to welcome back one of my favorite members of the Flipped Lifestyle community, Ben Pugh. What's going on, Ben?
Oh, man, I'm just so excited to be here. It's been a while since we've
It has been
like this.
It has, man. And it's funny, I've known you since before the community existed. That's what's hilarious, man, because we met at a live event. So it's like, man, you know what? We're all just moving forward. We're all just making progress, and we're all trying to clean up the mess that we all are inside of our business, man. So before we get started, man, tell everybody about you, what you do, and let the audience know what it is that you do to make your living.
Yeah, so I'm Ben Pugh. I am a father of 4. I have an amazing wife. She likes all the detail-y type stuff of the business. I'm kind of the dreamer, the big picture, like, hey, let's try this. I think
I would not know what a dynamic like that's like in a relationship. I wouldn't know about that, man.
Oh, you're right. And so I am a parenting / teen coach. Right now, I'm transitioning in my business. I'm going from one-on-one to more group and memberships. I have a podcast. It's called the Impact Parenting with Perspective podcast. And it's awesome. I've been doing it about 1 year and 2 months, and it's just really starting to grow. And I love what I'm doing. A little background. I was a knucklehead teenager. When I was 13, I accidentally lit my school bus on fire. All the adults in my life told me.
I didn't see that. I did not know that. And I did not see that. I don't think anyone has ever told me on this show that they've set a school bus on fire. So that's a great way to start the show, man.
You got to be clear. It was accidental. My friend stole some rubber cement. I happened to be holding it. And on the bus, another friend was like, hey, I've got a lighter. Let's see what happens. And I tried to throw it out the window, missed, sent flaming rubber cement all over the back of the bus.
Oh, my God.
Awful. All the adults in my life were like, hey, your life is ruined. And fast forward like 20 years later, I was a high school principal, like a pretty good one. I would speak at education events. And one of my old teachers was like, wait a second, are you this kid? I was like, yeah. And he's like, how on earth did you become a principal? But the thing that I've learned is that incident made me the best principal that I could be. And one of the times I had to suspend a kid, like I thought I was going to have to fight this kid's dad to protect him because he was just going to beat the crap out of his kid. And I was like, hey, time out. Let me tell you about the first time I got suspended. And it shared my story. And like instantly the dad's mood changed. Like towards the end, he's chuckling, elbows his kid. And he's like, dude, at least you didn't start the school bathroom on fire. He got caught smoking weed in the bathroom.
Right.
I realized, no, I can share this story and help give parents a better perspective.
Yeah.
And when parents have a more positive perspective, it changes how they parent. And I teach this concept that human beings are herd animals, and we like to think, feel, and act the same. You look at religion, politics, and sports. Those are my examples. And I tell parents, hey, if you want to have a powerful impact on your teenager, change the way you think about them, change the way you feel towards them, change the way you act around them. And that will have an impact on your team because they'll change how they think and how they feel and how they act. And so in my business right now, I'm teaching parents, and I do work with the occasional teen because I love coaching teens as well. But
yeah.
help
like a bridge between the parent you're coaching and the teen themselves kind of deal. Yeah.
Which is really fun when I'm coaching a parent and their teen, and I'll coach the parent and I'll be like, okay, yeah, we'll kind of work through these things. And then I'll coach the teen and it sounds completely different. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait, they're talking about the same thing. It's just
yeah, right. They are not on the same page. They're not in the same chapter or the book even sometimes.
So it's a lot of fun to kind of work with parents and their teens. And
yeah,
just a lot of times we don't realize this as parents. We have so much drama about what's going on that we're not able to see what's really happening. And when we can peel back all the drama, all of our limiting beliefs, that's a powerful place to parent from. And when
so what you do is you one-on-one coach people. Like you work right now, you've done some higher priced one-on-one work, right? And the sticking point seems to be right now you're trying to transition into the group work or the membership, or are you doing both of those things right now?
So I'm doing all of those things right now. My membership has like 5 paying members, which
all right. It's better than zero, baby. Better than zero. That ain't none, son. You know what I mean? So that's good.
And I also have a 6-month group. I told everyone, hey, this is just a beta program. I'm creating it as we go. $500 a pop, hop in, help me create this thing. I got 10 people in there.
That's good.
And there's still this fear. Like people don't necessarily want, when it comes to parenting, like the group membership.
Did you say it was 6 months? Did you say it was 6 months for $500?
Yeah, like way too cheap. But hey, I wanted to like over deliver. So
right. You gotta be careful that over delivering sometimes because you can over deliver on your head and crush yourself.
Yeah. But,
you know,
well, in the membership or in this 6-month group program, they all wanted one-on-one. And I'm telling my people, hey, I'm cutting out one-on-one. I don't do it as often. And a handful of them have been like, man, I did not realize the power of group coaching. But the problem comes in, I get these parents that they're like, no, I don't want group. I don't want to air my dirty laundry in front of all these people. I want one-on-one. And I just keep taking one-on-one clients because that pays the best money so far. So
yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so that's great context. You know, we'll sit back and there's some fears. Let's start with fears and mindset, and then we'll work our way towards strategy. Okay, you know, the funny thing is, yeah, you took $500 up front, but you basically just created an $83 a month membership is what you created. You know, I've been having a lot of discussions lately with these either or discussions, either coaching, either a membership, and I think that actually is a mindset issue. Like people think, I gotta be a membership person, or I gotta stop doing one-on-one, or I gotta do this, or I gotta do that. But the truth is, man, I look at it more like layers. Like the membership is like the monetization of your audience, right? Like these people that are listening to your podcast. The easiest way you can get them in is this lower ticket membership, right? That's going to give you some bulk. Now, the over deliver thing, they already have nothing. Coaches and trainers and leaders forget that. We know what the maximum thing is because we're the one doing it at the highest level. So we want to pour all of that into this thing. But most of the time, the over delivering just overwhelms the people that are in your membership. They can't do everything you want to give to them anyway, right? So you almost have to have a scaled down, bare bones, cleaner, easier version that's like the training wheel version of everything you really know and you want to over deliver for the membership tier. Right? Because if you give people too much at the very beginning, they just fall apart. They can't do it. They fail, and you're just setting them up for failure. And then now the layer then goes, okay, well, now I've got this membership thing. Like, let's say the goal is to get 100 people in there. Well, it's okay to have 2 groups of 10 paying $500 a month after that, and have some group coaching on top of that. And it's okay to maybe have 2 or 3 people on top of that as one-on-one coaches. It's not an either or thing, right? The membership is the foundation. Then like the walls are like the group coaching. And then like maybe the roof is like the one-on-one. But I think if you think of it more holistically, you'd have a better time wrapping your brain about what should go into, because right when you stop one-on-one coaching, you want to put everything you were doing in one-on-one coaching in the membership and over deliver, and that doesn't work. That's just gonna fall apart. So maybe if we could think of it differently, it'd be easier to wrap your brain about where everything. Because I like to do coaching. Like I have 2 group coaching on Mondays. I have a group of people from the Flipped Lifestyle community. There's only like 8 of them that are from 0 to 100 members. Right. That some are just starting, some are getting in the 70s, and we've been building that. Right. But that keeps my heartbeat on those issues. Right. And then I got another group that's people who are 6 figures and up. Right. So that's basically the people over 100 members is what that usually works out to be. And I keep those groups because they're important. They make revenue. They're extra money. It keeps me in tune with the people I'm teaching, so I don't lose sight of that as we scale. So you can do all the things. I mean, you don't have to have this either or, stop coaching, do memberships. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Does it feel easier that way? Less pressure to figure out exactly how to get it right?
Yeah, and I think I've seen that. Like in my own business, my high months, it just feels like I've created a full-time job for myself because I'm doing one-on-one. I'm happy to do an occasional one-on-one, but like you said with your 2 groups, I'd rather have like, hey, these are people just starting out. We do an extra group call each week, and then these are people who have been with me a little bit longer, and we go into a deep dive, and I just blow your freaking mind. So
yeah. And the deep dives, we've got an awesome member named Nikki Roush. She does those deep dives, but she charges $500 for them, and they're like 15, 20 minutes. So it's like, let's get to the heart of the issue as fast as possible. Let's get in here and let's go. So she's got an awesome membership, charges $150 a month. She's got like 200 something members. Then she's like, all right, I'm going to sell 10 deep dives. Boom, knock them out in a day. Then maybe she does something else. So she's got this layered approach where it's almost like, we always talk about leads, emails, audience growth, and you turn but the members are your real leads. That's your buyers list, right? Like you have a buyers list of X people that are easy to get in, easy to take that first plunge, $50 a month, whatever it is. And then those buyers buy more stuff. I mean, that's what they do. They want to go deeper. You can't go deeper with everybody all the time. But whenever you want to turn the faucet on, you can, and you can let those people come in. You can do or if somebody, like a lot of times in the community, what we do is we look for people who are on a tipping point, or we look for people who are on it. Like they have I got to 100 members. Okay, well, let's get them on the podcast real quick and push them over the edge. Or, I just got to 1,000 members. Let's get them in the round table and let's talk to them and help them get to 2,000, whatever, you can help people at their most point of need when you do it that way. Right. And I'd say right now, the reason why do you think, well, let me ask you this. Why do you only have 5 members in your membership?
I think part of it is I don't trust the membership. Like I trust one-on-one coaching. It's made me lots of money. I don't know. It's easier to sell that than sell hundreds of people on the membership in my
Interesting. Mind. So what do you mean? Okay, so we've got one layer of why I've never heard anyone say that before in those words. I don't trust the membership. All right, so the first layer is I don't trust that it can make the income the one-on-one coaching, right? That's the one thing. Why else do you not trust the membership?
There's other complexities. I maybe should have told this earlier. So I work collectively with 3 other coaches, and it's an awesome group membership thing. Like we have a group for teenagers, parents, and we're just starting one for college students. And so I think part of my brain is like, anyone I feed into the membership, we divide it 4 ways. Like it just makes it complicated. And
so you have partners?
Yeah. So there are partners, and that's definitely one of I love working with them. I want to maintain this partnership because we offer group coaching for teens and parents, and it's amazing. The teen one has really taken off. One of the partners was on someone's podcast who's been on your podcast, and it just exploded our teen membership. And so I don't mind the partnership dynamic, but then there's that point where I'm like, man, if I want to make money doing just the membership, I've got to bring in tons of people. And can I make tons of people happy?
All I'm confused about the partnership. Do you have a official partnership? We've drawn up papers and we are partners. Like this is a business that we all three own, basically.
And that's just the group coaching thing. So it's called the Firmly Founded Parent, the Firmly Founded Teen, and then we have the college edition, which is brand new.
Yeah. And you're trying to put, basically you're all just, are they creating additional content?
Yep. So basically I'm over the parenting one and I'm creating all the parenting content. Someone else is over the teen one, creating the teen content. And then what we do is from our membership, like some people work with us one-on-one. And I'm basically just the first coach who's like, hey, I've done one-on-one. It's fun, but I want to leverage my time better. And
I think you're thinking about this all wrong. Like you're thinking about ground up membership. Here's what I would say. Would it be awesome if each of you could make $10,000 a month from the membership as a floor in your business and anything you do on top of that is gravy? Would that be awesome?
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. All you need is 100 people paying $297 a month. Now let's build the value into $297. What would people pay for? Right. And we go find only 100 people, $297, and we figure out a package that we can sell where those people would serve you there, where you could serve them. So for example, Brooke Castillo, who is a former member of the Flipped Lifestyle community and alumni, got an amazing brand called the Life Coach School.
The Life Coach School.
Yes. Yeah. She's came through the program. She does a $297 a month membership, right? The main feature of her thing, which is very interesting, which I think applies here, is, she found that number because she figured out how much it would cost to buy a customer. And it would cost her like, I can't remember what her cost of acquisition was for a member, but it was hundreds of dollars, right? But she was like, but if I charge $297 a month and I keep them 3 months, I'm profitable. So then I can spend ad money infinitely. And that's how she grew to 35 million, right? Dollars, a year. So what you're doing is the same thing. And one thing she adds in is one-on-one calls. Not necessarily coaching, but like people can schedule like a call, like once a month, once a week. I don't know what it is. I have to analyze that and see what it is. But with you guys, your members could book X calls a month with, like, maybe they get 2 calls a month with any of you. They get all the access to the content you make. They get all the access to the group stuff, Q&As. You have to change the Q&As. You can't just do pods. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then like maybe that's just a part it's baked in. It's like, okay, you get up to 2 calls. You can pick any of the 3 coaches. What are you dealing with, right? Maybe it's a college kid. Maybe it's a teen. Maybe it's just a parenting solo call with you, right? Now, instead of selling these one-on-one things, you just got a group of 100 members. We know they're not all going to take advantage of that every month. They're just not. They're not going to schedule every single call, right? So at most, you're probably going to end up each with 10 calls a month, right? But that could feed a one-on-one program. Like if you wanted to go deep dive with people, at the end of one of those calls, you could just be like, hey, if you needed another hour of this, let's do a $500 deep dive, right? And that's where you create the extra $5,000 to $10,000 a month for each of you taking those one-on-one calls. So you just have to figure out what will make you profitable as a price point. Forget what you're trying to put in it. Just what makes us profitable. Well, it'd be pretty cool if we were bringing in 30K, 10K a piece, and then everything else was gravy. So we've got to get 100 people to pay us $300 to do that. Right. And I think between us all 3, we could get to 100 pretty fast. Right. Yeah. And then you charge $297 a month for your membership. Now that could scale. Then you could start hiring coaches. You could go to 200 people, get some more coaches on staff, let them field the calls. And you're only doing the deep dives and creating content. Right. Yeah. And it just expands out from there. So I think you're just not thinking, I don't want to say big enough. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like, don't get it in your head what other people do for the memberships. Pick a price and then build the value into it. Pick how much you want to make and then figure out how to make it valuable enough where people will buy it and get use out of it. And that's how you can turn a membership model into a bigger ticket thing.
And so would you look at like the life of the customer too? So currently, and this is one of the hard parts about being kind of as a team instead of just individual, we're only charging $47 a month. They do get one 25-minute one-on-one coaching call.
No, Ben Pugh. No. Oh, what are you doing? You should have called me like a month ago before y'all started doing this, man.
Yeah. And if only we'd only been doing it for a month. And that's, I think, why part of it hasn't grown. But at $50 a month or $47, we might have these people forever. Like that price point doesn't even hurt. But at 300, is that like the type of thing that I say, no, you get in here, you do the work, and you can have your relationship fixed with your teen in 3 months. Like that's the goal. Get you in, get you going, and then.
No, I don't think so. I think that's a preposterous goal a little bit. Like I got a preteen. I had to figure out Isaac from 7 to 10. And then I had to figure out him again from 10 to 13. Now I'm going to have to figure him out again from 13 to 16. And then 16 to 19 is going to look different. I think you say, hey, we are a community of people who are raising teenagers, and we are dedicated to making our relationship with our kids in their teenage years the best it could ever be. That's 13 to 19, bro. The goal is to build something where you keep a community together forever, and you have like-minded parents, and you have core values, and you have support built around these parents where you've got 100, 200 people and you get them in. Now, when I look at revenue, LTV is important. How many months they stay is important. I'm really just looking at, we've got X members paying this much a month. That's our budget, right? Like we can figure the other numbers come after, because it's like, well, how long do they stay? Well, that's our runway. How many do we have to replace every month? Well, we average losing 50. Let's get 51. Like that's going to determine marketing and strategy and all that stuff. But to me, it's like, no, I think you're creating a community, right? This is not a, maybe there's some arbitrage where you're coming in and solving one big problem. Like solve your biggest problem with your teen right now in 3 months. That's going to look different for everybody. Yeah. But then when the 3 months is up, it's like, all right, what's the next problem we're going to solve? Right? Because there's always something. It's not going to be just magic fixed forever with a kid. And that expands it out. So now it's like, maybe we can get LTV up to a year or two. Maybe we can get it longer. Maybe we can get 100 people to pay us $300 forever. Maybe we can get 200 people. Yeah, I would guess your capacity with 3 people, you would probably be able to serve 100 each in this kind of model, because you're only going to have about 20 to 50% of people take you up on the calls. So I would guess you're going to be able to get up to 200 or 300 before you felt a lot of pressure to hire more people, because there's 3 of you, and it's not one-on-one. It's a membership model. It's 80% of the work is done in content. Each of you should run a different Q&A once a month, so people can come and get help there. And then I would probably give everybody a monthly call with one of you or something, maybe 2 calls where they could check in. Maybe you get 1 call with the parent, 1 call with the teen a month or something like that if they want that. And that'll give them some help in the moment when they're in tears because their kid set a school bus on fire. Right. Yeah, but you got to bake the value in. This is a process. We're just starting. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I mean, that sounds like a path to victory to me, man, for your membership.
Yeah. So a lot of our clients come from Jody Moore. She was on your podcast as well. So
she was a member of the community, has 4,000 members, making $2 million a year, something like that. Yeah.
Lots. And so she charges $50, and that's where that price point kind of came from, because people are like, oh, well, if I'm coming from here to here, I want to pay.
Nah, that's bias. I mean, Jody's thing too, though, is way more passive than what we're talking about here, right? Like her thing is way more passive. It's the true content Q&A, talk to each other if you want to. I don't even know. I'm not positive she even lets her people talk to each other, except in like Facebook groups or something. I'm not sure what she does for that community, but like it's super passive. It's not as labor intensive as Brooks for sure, and she's got way more capital than you do to do that right now. If she does have anybody in there,
Yeah. Okay. So upward prices get clear.
It's apples to apples too, man. Like a lot of people come to us from people like Pat Flynn, who's just giving away all the free information. Or we go to these events and we speak on stadiums. You're total strangers who may be at a free event, and like they come into our thing, but it's not about that. It's how good can you communicate the value of your product, and then how do you filter the gold out of the river, right? Like librarians, they're cheap. We got them to pay, but we didn't need all the librarians. We needed the ones that wanted to pay for the solution. Flipped Lifestyle's price has increased. We don't need everybody to start an online business. I want the ones that are willing to pay for a plan that works, you know? And that's what you're doing here. You cannot ever compare your membership to someone else's membership. That's just a starting point. Yeah. I think the higher price point would make it more valuable too. Like if I went out and someone was like, I'm going to solve all the problems you're having with your kid for $50. I'd be like, you are smoking crack. There is no way that is a real thing. That's not true. It's like a stock market guy saying, I'll teach you everything about the stock market, $20 a month. No, that's not true. Now you tell me $1,000 to join, $500 a month. Ooh, this guy must know about the stock market. right? Same thing with the parenting thing. Like everyone, the bullcrap meter on the parenting is probably very high, most people. And, you're looking to get past that by saying, no, this program works and this pays for people, resources. We have 3 parenting coaches. We have 3 people that can talk to your teen. You're not alone, right? Like people are going to look at that and go, you can't pay for all that with $50, So it might give you more legitimacy having a higher price point too.
Yeah. And like people are willing to pay. People come from my podcast, which is awesome. Like when you start getting people coming from your podcast and they're starstruck, and I'm like, dude, I'm just a normal human being. But they're paying me $2,000 to $5,000 to work with them one-on-one. And maybe that if I just quit offering the one-on-one and just said, you know what, if you want to work with me, it's $300 a month. You come with me in here, and I'm happy to give tons of access. Like currently in the group program I do a live training because I'm building it. Then I do an office hours because parents wanted a place.
That's Q&A. That's the same thing. Same words, verbiage. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I end up doing 2 Q&As. One is the office hours. The other one's a group coaching call. And the one I don't record because parents are like, what if I want to talk to you about something deep? I'm happy when people are live, they can listen in, but I don't want it recorded and shared. So I'm meeting 1 hour a day, 3 days a week with my 6-month program anyways. And if I just build that into the membership, that would
How often do you in your one-on-one program do you meet with them?
Once a week in my
okay, so each person is getting 4 calls basically right now, but all future people won't know they're getting 4 calls. Does everybody show up for all 4 calls always? Usually
on a one-on-one program?
Yeah.
Usually that's part of the reason I'm going away from it. Sometimes I have to hassle people and remind them, hey, and then they come back 6 months later like, hey, I still had a couple calls left. And I'm like,
well, if you miss a call, it's gone. That's how one-on-one works with me. Like if you don't show up, it's gone. You know what I mean? But like, look at that. Like, so right now, let's say there was 100 people. That kind of works out math-wise. Let's say there's 100 people. Let's say you stopped hassling them and you just told them you get 2 calls a month with one of us. It's all they want you to do is listen to them and help them through the exact issue they're in. So like, they're still going to get the one-on-one. So now you can say, all right, for all audience, we've opened this up. We want to make this as affordable as possible. You can have $300 a month too. And then what is that? 300, 3,000. You could still do like a discount, like 2,000 per year or something, if you wanted to have some kind of big hit thing. But like, just let's say it's $297 a month. Like, hey, you get group work and you get one-on-one. You still market it as they get one-on-one time, right? Because you have 2 calls a month. It's your responsibility to schedule them. You can use them anytime you want. Right? You and your buddies, your partners, you set up the office hours, the calendar, where they can only book at certain times. Like you only take the appointments from 10 to 12 or something, 10 to 2, whatever. And then just book it out where you've got enough for everybody to do it. And whatever gets signed up during those blocks, that's what gets the one-on-one calls. But it's use it or lose it in the terms and conditions. Like you have to give your customers some responsibility, right? And trust them that if that's the way they choose to use maybe they only come to group calls and that's it. That's fine. That's how they wanted to use your program. That's not your choice. That's their choice, right? But you offered it. Your job's to provide the opportunity, basically.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I wouldn't turn your revenue off while you're building this either. I would just give people the option to do that, or off the back end of right now, you could fill that in the back end. Like, hey, this has been awesome. Maybe you don't want to pay $5,000 again. Why don't we just downsell you into our $299 or $297 a month program? And you're going to get group work, you're going to get access to all of our content, and you're going to get, if you want to keep doing these, up to 2 calls a month. What do you say? And then just let them book them, Yeah. So I'd probably downsell my way into this than I would just turn off coaching. And if your podcast is taking off, that's where focus all your energy there on the 297 stuff. Okay. Yeah. And just get the podcast people on the email list to join the membership.
Okay.
Any follow-ups? You're sitting there like shaking your head like, I should have thought of this. Right?
I'm excited for this podcast to come out so I can go re-listen to it and take notes this time.
I'll send you the video early so you can check it out, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to get to work and make it happen. That's one of the cool things about doing this. I did one-on-one and I'm like, oh, I thought this was what I wanted. Turns out it's not. So let's pivot.
And once you know that, you just change it and go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So this helps give me clarity to just change and go. So
yeah, man. Awesome stuff. And the partnership things that you just got to navigate with them. You know what I'm saying? Let them listen to this, talk about it. They might have some ideas to make it even better. And then of course, go drop it in the forums and keep wrestling with it for a little while. And then just work backwards from the price you want to get paid. Work back. How much money do you want to make? Work backwards from that. You want to make $10,000 a month? Divide it by 100, divide it by 50, divide it by 25. How much money would that take a month? Can you provide that much value? I'm confident you guys can produce enough value to get $297 a month based on what you guys have already got set up, man. So good stuff. Ben Pugh, man. Great having you on today. Hey, if anybody out there is struggling with their teen, tell them where they can find you, man, so they can reach out to that as well.
Yeah, go check out my podcast. That's the best place. I give so much value away, and people are always like, man, how can you give all this away? And I'm always like, well, because if you would have changed on your own, you would have done it a long time ago. So I trust that you'll still come hire me and work with me. So my podcast is called Impact Parenting with Perspective. And you can find me on my website, benpughcoaching.com would probably be the easiest place to find me.
All right, y'all, that wraps up my podcast with Flipped Lifestyle community member Ben Pugh. Hey, I know there's a lot of one-on-one coaches out there that would love to get more time back and would love to scale what they're doing online. There's no better way to do that than to move from one-on-one coaching into a membership model. You just got to build a membership that delivers the value at a price that will help you make what you want to make every single month and save you a ton of time in the process. We'd love to help you do that. If you're a coach out there, you're working too many hours, you got too many appointments, and you want to get into memberships, we can show you how to start, build, and grow a membership over at flippedlifestyle.com/free. We've got a ton of free resources to help you get started. All you have to do is go over to flippedlifestyle.com/free. We'll help you come up with your idea for a membership, and we'll help you start building that membership site of your own. That's flippedlifestyle.com/free to get started for free today. All right, guys, before we go, I'd love to read a Bible verse or two here on the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible in business and in life. We love to share what we read in there. And I thought a good verse to go along with Ben's interview would be Jesus feeding the 5,000. Matthew chapter 14, verse 15 begins, "As evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, 'This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food.' Jesus replied, 'They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat.' The disciples replied, 'We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish.' Jesus said, 'Bring them here to me,' and he directed the people to sit down in the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up into heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. The number who ate was about 5,000, besides women and children. They all ate and were satisfied." This story reminds me of going from one-on-one to serving many in the membership model. Just like Jesus started with 5 loaves and 2 fish. Maybe you're starting now with 5 or 6 clients, but you've just got to look at it from a different perspective. The disciples couldn't see how Jesus was going to feed all these people. Couldn't see how he was going to get from a few to the many. But he just had faith and he believed in the process, and he was able to go out and serve as many as he could. You can do the same thing when you transition over to the membership model. When you take all that God-given skill, knowledge, talent, wisdom, and ability, you put it into content, you put it into group coaching, and you put it into community, great things can happen. All right, guys, that is all the time we have for this episode of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Hey, do me a favor. If you enjoy this podcast, if we bring you value every single week, give this podcast a share on social media. And hey, run over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. We read every single review, and those reviews help us to grow the show and reach more families with our message of starting, building, and growing an online business to change their family's future. That's all the time we have for this week. Thanks for listening. Until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes, flip your life. We'll see you then.
Bye.